So where I want to start, just around helping, how do we help people with problem solving, right? How do we engage them? How do we help them? How do we support them? What are some aspects of the role of a leader in making problem solving work? So what I want to start with here is that there's a lot of people will define problem solving primarily around what we would call execution gaps, right? Performance standard is X, or at something south of X, and that's the gap, right? Really good problem statement because we have good standards, we have good metrics, we have all that stuff that we need to make that work. And so when we have an execution gap, right, we pull out an A3 or an 8D or whatever. I don't, I care, but don't, for the purposes of today's discussion, I don't. And then we pull out the problem solving tools and go to work. And then beyond that, either up this sort of strategic spectrum or down, we kind of go, yeah, but that's not problem solving. So we'll look at structural gaps, right? So when people go through an org change, for an example, I'll say a victim of them. I've survived them, and then I've also helped lead them. We call that maybe a structural gap. And we don't bring the same problem solving tools. We're like, oh, we're just going to bring our experience and intuition and maybe some other tools to that. We don't treat that like the problem solving that it should be. And I'd argue that if we did, probably about half the org changes that are taking place probably would be solved by other means other than an org change. And even strategic gaps, right? Our strategy isn't working. We have a gap in the market. We have a competitive threat. Yeah, it's not a gap to standard in the same sense as an execution gap, but it's still a gap. It's still a problem, and some of the same thinking, behaviors, and even some of the same tools all start to make sense. But even down the scale, we talk about firefighting, right? We might not open a template, right? If our computer's glitchy, which I'm trying to say to hopefully avoid that problem while in the middle of a webinar, we still kind of go, what do I know? What do I not know about this problem? Well, I know that restarting my computer works 2 out of 3 times, so we'll start there. It's still a thoughtful problem-solving process. And so I think that the key is, are we bringing the right capabilities? Thinking about the capabilities we bring, the behaviors, the mindset, and not just the tools. Tools still matter, right? You can't fix your engine without a wrench kind of thing. You still need the tools. But if we're looking at problem solving as all of these things, we need to be flexible, have a broad and deep skill set, the right behaviors, the right mindset to bring to the table, and then see those opportunities, and then pull out the tools when it's the right time. So I think what's important is to help people see that what they have in front of them is problem solving to be done. I've got to go get this sale. There's a gap. That means there's a problem. Whatever that might be, a lot of the gaps, a lot of the barriers, a lot of the challenges that we face, if we think about it as problem solving, we're not painting ourselves into a corner where we have to go fill out a template, but we're actually opening up the possibility of using the skills that we bring to bear when we have those execution gaps, and we do it with great rigor and precision.